We have come to the National Portrait Gallery in London for a preview of Jenny Saville, The Anatomy of Painting. Christie's is proud to be supporting this first major museum survey of Saville's work in Britain. Sarah, it's just amazing to be here in the gallery, standing in front of these extraordinary paintings that really did pave the way for generations of painters to come. And we're standing here in front of Rubens' Flap, made in the late 90s.
It has this intriguing title, Rubens' Flap. It's a form of cosmetic surgery, breast reconstruction, but also it's a play on the artist Rubens, one of the many artists, old master painters that Jenny Saville refers to in her work. But at the same time, her images are incredibly contemporary. They're not necessarily self-portraits, but she uses her own body. There's this wonderful, sensuous use of paint and layering.
This early work from the 90s must have felt so radical at a time when the YBAs were bringing conceptual art to the fore, and she was resolutely challenging what painting could be.
The other YBAs who exhibited along with her in Sensation were more conceptual in a sense, but Jenny was still focusing on painting in a conceptual way.
I'm really blown away by the scale of all these portrait heads in this room, Sarah. It's quite extraordinary to see a portrait such as Reverse, where it's painted over 2 meters. The scale of the face of all of the features, it leaves a huge impact.
It does indeed have an incredible presence, and I think what's really interesting is the way that it's been turned around, so it's a landscape format. There's a real sort of physicality to these paintings, to the way that Jenny Saville uses paint, and an incredible sort of energy.
What's extraordinary about Reverse is it looks like she's managed to conjure up blood. The face is filled with sanguine colours, and it's like flesh. She obviously had knowledge and interest in the paintings of flesh.
She has a sort of forensic interest in other artists' painting and the way that they use paint, the way that Frank Auerbach, for instance, used paint. She has this extensive knowledge of art history, which is woven into the paintings.
Auerbach, in a way, carves paint into his portraits. You have that sort of similar texture of oil paint, which is amazing in Jenny Saville's work. She probably knows in more depth and more detail the brushworks of all the great masters than everyone else. And you can see it's that knowledge, that intelligence, and that alacrity with paint that makes her one of the great artists of the 21st century. This is out of 1-2 Symposium, quite a different work from Reverse.
She's introducing pastel and charcoal into the work. So you have this sort of very dry surface, and you have these lines that remind me of Decoding and Cy Twombly. So you've got these layering of bodies intertwined. It's a very sort of sculptural work, and indeed the figures are lying on a plinth like a sculpture.
And it strikes me that she's playing with the concept of positive and negative space. You see bare canvas, actually, but that's obviously a compositional tool. This leg in the upper portion of the canvas, there seems to be this extraordinary movement.
This mark making really gives it that feeling of movement, and this layering, this palimpsest that speaks about memory and time. Areas are erased, areas are built upon, and there's a huge amount of depth in this work. It has this sort of 3-dimensional quality.
Behind you, Sarah, there is the sister work, 1 out of 2 Symposium. It almost looks like the negative to the positive. It's mostly monochromatic, but still wrapped in these red bands.
It's so exciting to have these 2 works together, reunited at side by side.
This is Shazar, one of the great paintings that Jenny made within the last 5 years. It's quite different experiencing this kind of painting versus the works she was making in the 1990s. The colours are extraordinary.
At this time, she was using pastels from a shop in Paris where Degas purchased his pastels, Maison du Pastel. So you get these incredible colours, these fluorescent colours, which are really striking and a very different palette from the earlier work.
Is it true that Jenny was inspired by late Monet?
Yes, she was indeed. Jenny saw a number of late Monet exhibitions around this time, and she was really taken with the way that the paint worked on the surface of the canvas.
I can see that. And I just spot in the eye something very special.
Yes, we have a reflection of the artist in the eyes, which is really wonderful to have that presence.
Somehow it strikes me that this painting is at once figurative, it's a portrait of a person that Jenny knows, and at the same time it's very much an abstract painting. The brushwork looks so free and fluid.
It sort of encapsulates the title of the exhibition, The Anatomy of Painting, and this tension between abstraction and figuration. Often Jenny will start with an abstract work, and out of that a figurative work emerges.
Sarah, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. It feels like such an extraordinary moment to see these amazing paintings by Jenny on view in the United Kingdom at the National Portrait Gallery. Thank you.